vinashamapyayasya
न कश्चित्
kartumarhati.
कर्तुमर्हति.
Okay, Madhuri.
अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि
अविनाशी
अविनाशितु तद्विद्धि
येन सर्वमिदं ततम्
Ena
येन सर्वमिदं ततम्
विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
Okay, Aparna.
अविनाशी तु तद्विधि
अविनाशितु तद्विद्धि
येन सर्वमिदं ततम्
Ena
येन सर्वमिदं ततम्
विनाशम् अव्ययस्य
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
Okay, Venugopal.
अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि
अविनाशितु तद्विद्धि
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति
कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
Okay, Rahul.
अविनाशितु तद्विद्धि
अविनाशी तु
तद्विद्धि
तद्विधि
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
विनाशमव्ययस्य
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
Okay, Naresh.
अविनाशी तु तद्विद्धि
अविनाशितु तद्विद्धि
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
Okay, Swati.
अविनाशी तु तद्विधि
अविनाशितु तद्विद्धि
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
Ena
येन सर्वम् इदं ततम्
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य
न कश्चित् कर्तुम् अर्हति.
कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति.
Okay. Aparna, you recited, right? Yeah. Okay. So, purport. It's a long purport. So what we can do is I'll read one paragraph, and I'll ask few other people to read other paragraphs. This verse more clearly explains the real nature of the soul, which is spread all over the body. Anyone can understand what is spread all over the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of the body, in part or as a whole. This spreading of consciousness is limited within one's own body. The pains and pleasures of one body are unknown to another. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of an individual soul, and the symptoms of the soul's presence is perceived as individual consciousness. This soul is described as 1/10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair point in size. The Shvetashvara Upanishad 5.9 confirms this. Balagra shatabhagasya shatadi kalpitasya cha bhago jiva sa vijneyah sachantayaya kalpate. When the upper point of a hair is divided into 100 parts, and again each of such parts is further divided into 100 parts, each such part is the measurement of the dimension of the spirit soul. Similarly, the same version is stated, Eshagra shatabhagasya shatamsha sadrisham kaha jiva sukshma swarupoyam shankyatihi chitkanaha. There are innumerable particles of spiritual atoms which are measured as 1/10,000th of the upper portion of the hair. Therefore, the individual particle of spirit soul is a spiritual atom smaller than the material atoms. And such atoms are innumerable. This very small spiritual spark is the basic principle of the material body. And the influence of such spiritual spark is spread all over the body as the influence of the active principle. Some medicine spreads throughout the body. This current of the spirit soul is felt all over the body as consciousness. And that is the proof of the presence of the soul. Any layman can understand that the material body minus consciousness is a dead body. And this consciousness cannot be revived in the body by any means of material administration. Therefore, consciousness is not due to any amount of material combination, but to the spirit soul. In the Mundaka Upanishad, the measurement of the atomic spirit soul is further explained. Eshonur atma chetasa veditavyo yasmin prana pancha samivesha pranaischittam sarvam ottam prajanam yasmin vishuddhe vibhavat yeshatma. Okay, someone else want to read the remaining paragraph? Madhuri, you want to read?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in 5 kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. Is situated within the heart and spreads its influence all over the body of embodied living entities. Excuse me. When the soul is purified from the contamination of 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. The Hatha Yoga system is meant for controlling the 5 kinds of air circling the pure soul by different kinds of sitting postures, not for any material profit, but for liberation of minute soul from the entanglement of the material atmosphere. So the constitution of atomic soul is admitted in all Vedic literatures. And it is also actually felt in practical experience by the sane man. Only the insane man can think of this atomic soul as all-pervading Vishnu Tattva. The influence of atomic soul can be spread all over a particular body. According to Mundaka Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity. And because the measurement of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of material scientists, some of them asserted foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the super soul. And thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from lungs gather energy from the soul. from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of blood generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is seat of all energies of the body. Such atomic particles of spirit whole are compared to the sunshine molecules. In sunshine, there are innumerable radiant molecules. Similarly, the fragmental parts of Supreme Lord are atomic sparks of the rays of Supreme Lord, called by the name Prabha, or superior energy. So whether one follows Vedic knowledge or modern science, one cannot deny the existence of spirit soul in the body. The science of soul is explicitly described in Bhagavad Gita by Personality of Godhead himself.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So starting from this verse, Krishna is explaining the nature of the soul or the attributes of the soul. So prior to this, 3 verses, Krishna talked about tolerance. And prior to that, prior to 2.14, Krishna talked about soul in 2 shlokas. Natvevaham jatunasam atvam me janadipa nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayam adapharam. And then Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara prapte dhirastatranam hyate. So 2 shlokas we described about the soul, and then 3 shlokas about tolerance, and now he's explaining about attributes or the nature of the soul. So Krishna first talked about the existence of the soul. In 2.11 and 12, 12 and 13, Krishna talked about the presence of the soul or the existence of the soul. So he said, you are not the body, but you are the soul. And then 3 shlokas about tolerance. And now he starts describing about the attributes or the nature of the soul. But there is a very beautiful thing. Has anyone observed? We have been discussing few shlokas about soul, and we'll discuss probably another 15, 20 shlokas about soul in this chapter, starting from this 2.17 onwards. And in all these shlokas, no, I won't spill the beans. But have you observed one beautiful thing? Krishna is explaining about soul. I'm almost about to spill the beans, but I can't ask the question without spilling the beans. So, what is the unique thing that you have observed in these shlokas, where Krishna is explaining about the soul? Have you experienced anything unique, or how should I say? Or did you not find what you are expecting to see in these shlokas, where Krishna is telling about shlokas? Close it. Okay, anyway, that's some homework. Okay, you look at the shlokas again, starting from 2.70 onwards. You look at 5 or 6 more shlokas where Krishna talks about, for example, Antavanta ime deha nitya shokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmad yuddhyasya bharata. Yayenam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na vijanito nayam hanyate. Najayate vriyate va kadachinnayam bhutva bhavita na bhuya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. All these shlokas. So Krishna is talking about soul. So what is that what is that special thing or unique thing that you notice? Okay, so you do that homework and come back next week. Okay, now coming back to 2.17. So in 2.17, the Prabhupada explains in the purport that soul is situated in the heart region, but the energy is pervaded throughout the body. The energy is pervaded throughout the body. Just like, when you see light bulb in the room, the light bulb is situated in one place, but the light is pervaded throughout the room. Similarly, the sun is situated in one place in the sun planet, but its energy is pervaded, the heat and energy is pervaded throughout the universe. The energy is pervaded throughout the universe. Just like that, the soul is situated in the heart region and its consciousness is pervaded throughout the body. And so what exactly is consciousness? What is consciousness?
The living force in the body.
Hmm?
The living force in the body.
The living
Not in the
force.
body.
Yeah,
The
that's
living
the
force.
definition of consciousness. But what are the faculties of consciousness? When do you say that there is consciousness?
When we can move or take a decision or like do what a sane man can do, then we call that we are conscious. Like we can the motor skills work, our brain works properly, or when we can do our day-to-day activities or our work, whatever is needed, then we say that we are
You're
conscious.
on the right track to the answer.
Is it awareness, Guruji, Prabhuji, that we are aware of the different things that are happening in our body or what we are experiencing? The awareness part of it is consciousness.
That's not a faculty. That's I should say that's the nature of
On a basic level.
That's a symptom of consciousness. You are being aware of what is happening within this body. That's a symptom of the consciousness. The consciousness exists. And what is the proof of that is you are being aware of what's happening in the body. So that's a symptom. That's a symptom of consciousness. But the faculties, there are 3 faculties. Ashok? No? Okay. So as Madhuri said, right, working, motor skills, all those things. So something similar to that. So the 3 faculties of consciousness are, that means whenever we say consciousness exists, that means these 3 faculties, we can see these 3 faculties: thinking, feeling, and willing. Thinking, feeling, and willing. Thinking, feeling, and willing. These are the 3 steps that happen before you perform any action. Any action, whether you mentioned decision, right? So before you make a decision, you go through this 3-step process: thinking, feeling, and willing. And before you perform any action, you go through these 3 steps. That means there is consciousness. That's the proof. Yeah.
Because the science cannot explain, because someone is awake, we know that they are thinking,
Yeah.
or feeling. something.
Mhm.
But the people who are in coma, we know they are alive,
Yeah.
but what about the consciousness?
Their consciousness is in a dormant state. Yeah. It's in a dull state or dormant state. Yeah. That's why their faculties of consciousness
Mhm.
are limited. They think,
Yeah.
they feel,
Mhm.
but they cannot perform the willing part.
Okay.
They feel like doing something,
Mhm.
but they cannot. They feel like talking, but they cannot.
Okay.
So thinking and feeling also happens to some limited extent. And willing, definitely not. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, some senses, because the senses are active. Even a person who is in coma, senses are active. The mind is thinking, and the senses are also there. They are seeing, they may not be able to move the hands and legs, so they may not be able to move the body. But senses are working. And maybe sometimes they blink their eyes, or they move the eyeballs around. So some kind of movement is there. So thinking and feeling is there, but not willing. Yeah. So basically their consciousness is in dormant state. Yeah. Okay, so these are the three faculties. And this consciousness, Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that it is individual consciousness. Most of the times people say consciousness means it's a collective consciousness, especially the impersonalists, Mayavadis who worship Brahman. Their understanding is consciousness means it is the collective consciousness. Consciousness is like one pool from which the souls fell, and then after liberation, when the souls go back and merge into the Brahman, they merge into that supreme consciousness or the collective consciousness. But that is not true. As Prabhupada is explaining in this purport, it is individual consciousness. And Prabhupada explained that with an example in the purport, in the first paragraph. So he gave an example of pain and pleasure. So whatever pain and pleasure that happens in this body, that only I know about it. So I cannot know what pain and pleasure Rahul is going through. So this experience is individual. This consciousness is individual. So as Aparna mentioned, right? Consciousness means awareness. The presence of consciousness means there is awareness. Awareness of what's happening in the body. And our own consciousness, the consciousness within this body, is aware of only what's happening in this body, not any other bodies. That's why it is individual. It's private to you. It's special, separate to you. So this also establishes the individuality of Jivatma. Whereas Mayavadis, they deny the individuality. They say after liberation, when we all merge with the Supreme Brahman, we become one with God. So we lose our identity and merge with the Supreme Brahman. Whereas Prabhupada is clearly explaining here that we have individual consciousness. And then the size of the soul is described. The size of the soul is so minute that it is it is the 10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair tip. It is the 10,000th part of the upper portion of the hair, or the tip of the hair. So you take the tip of the hair, cut into 100 pieces, and you take each of those 100 pieces, cut into 100 pieces again, that is the size of the soul. That is the size of the soul. It is so minute and minuscule that no scientific device can capture it. And Prabhupada is quoting some references where that is mentioned, like Shvetashvara Upanishad. So if you look at Prabhupada's purports in Bhagavad Gita, so he quotes reference to lot of Vedic scriptures. He does not say things randomly. For whatever he's saying, he quotes scriptures. So it's completely bona fide. And so looking at the translation, that which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. So what are the three attributes of the soul that you can tell from this translation? Three attributes of the soul. Now we all read translation. So what are three attributes?
Eternal, indestructible, and I think imperishable is the same as indestructible. So the third one is, I'm not sure what.
Okay, so first of all, eternal is not there here. Yeah.
Invisible.
Invisible. Okay, from the purport we can make that out. Yeah, very good. From the purport we can make it out. Invisible. Okay. But looking at the translation itself, first of all, there is no eternal here. Indestructible and imperishable. So two. What is the third one?
Pervades the entire body.
Yeah, pervades the entire body. All pervading. You can say all pervading. All pervading. Okay, all pervading, indestructible, imperishable. Now Rahul raised it out. Is indestructible same as imperishable? Is indestructible same as imperishable? Option 1, yes. Option 2, no. Option 3, yes and no. Option 4, none of the above. Okay.
So destructible, to destroy, you're making a special attempt, but perishable is naturally.
Yeah, that's what I was also thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So
Yeah,
basically,
but
imperishable means perishable means something that deteriorates.
yeah, decays over time. Yeah.
Deteriorates. Yeah. Deteriorates. Okay. Whereas destructible means somebody causes destruction. Somebody can cause destruction. Somebody can spoil or damage an object.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you look at that attribute, imperishable, right? So soul is imperishable. Okay. It does not deteriorate. Whereas the body deteriorates. There are 6 stages that the body undergoes. The body undergoes 6 stages. Throughout its lifetime, the body undergoes 6 stages. So the 6 stages are: the body takes birth in mother's womb. Okay, birth. The first step is birth. And then after taking birth in mother's womb, the body remains for some time in the mother's womb for 9 months. body remains in mother's womb. That is second stage. Third
I have
stage.
a question.
1 second, Avi. Third stage, the body grows. After coming out of mother's womb,
Raise my hand.
the body grows. So first step is takes birth. Second step, the body remains in mother's womb for some time. And third step, grows. The body grows. And fourth step, the body produces offspring. You know, when the boy or girl, you know, when they get married and then, you know, have children, that is offspring. The body produces other bodies. The body produces offspring, the other bodies. That is fourth stage. Fifth stage, the body dwindles. Dwindles or deteriorates, both are same. Perishes, these are all same. And then finally, the body is destroyed or passes, you know, destroyed. Body is destroyed. Yeah. Yes, Avi. Yeah.
Is the I think I need to make a correction. If when I think the first step is your judgment. So I've been listening to Maharaj's lectures. You need to get used to the body. Like if you're in a human form and you eat meat, like just say if you eat meat,
Yeah.
and after you die, you eat pig meat. You just pretend you eat pig meat. So just let's say if you're in a human body and you eat pig meat, then you die. I think the first step is you need to develop the taste of the qualities of the animal you have to be, or the insect, or the being.
You have to develop
You have to develop the quality. Like Maharaj has an example, you're going to be thrown into an ocean of stool. You have nothing else to eat other than stool. Maharaj gives us an example in the morning.
Yeah, you have to. So there is some training period. After a person. After
So the training is the first step. Then the birth of the womb is the second step, not the first, the second. So I just wanted to make a little correction, I think.
So we are talking about the very first birth.
Okay.
So if you talk about the very first birth.
The very first, like, you're talking about the first birth, like the very first birth.
If it's the
first birth, then it's going to be no training. If it's first birth, then it's just birth. But your main first step would be training. That would be your main step, because it's only the training is only disqualified when you're having your first birth. But right now, like there might be like if I was my first life right now, then I would have to go through no training, but it would be odd that I'm a human in my first life. So I think you like most of the time I feel like you need to go through training. Like I don't recommend saying birth is the first step, because then if you say birth is the first step, it's not. Birth is no, I don't really get it, because there's more steps before that. Like, because you need to get judged by Yama, Lord of Death. You need to be judged by him. Then you need to go through the training process by the judgment. So like I think there's a little bit more. Like the first step is judged by Yama. That's
Yeah.
the first step. Then training is the second. So birth is the third step. If your first birth is already done.
So all things, the training and judgment, all those things, they happen to the subtle body, not the gross body. So the 6 stages that I mentioned, they are for the gross body. So the body, body takes birth, and body remains in the mother's womb for some time.
I didn't know. Sorry. I didn't know you were talking about the gross body. I thought you were talking about the subtle body with the spiritual elements, but sorry. I thought you were talking about the subtle body.
No, you're smart.
Subtle and gross body.
That's a good point you raised. Okay. So the gross body grows through the 6 stages. Body takes birth in the mother's womb. Body remains in the mother's womb for some 9 months. And then when the body comes out of the mother's womb, it starts growing. Body produces other bodies, the offspring, and then dwindles, finally destruction. Okay. Whereas the soul is imperishable. Body is perishable. Body goes through these 6 stages, whereas the soul is imperishable. And we talked, and there is a third attribute, indestructible, right? So how can we say that soul is indestructible? How can we understand that soul is indestructible?
Like soul, I understand soul as the same thing as the subtle body, because the subtle body cannot be destroyed. Like the subtle body is not the gross body. The gross body can be destroyed, but the subtle body, it cannot be destroyed. So I think I describe the soul as the subtle body, and the soul has those elements. And I just think the soul in the subtle body as an incarnation of the soul is just a bigger form of the soul. And the soul is an incarnation of the subtle body, but in smaller version.
So yeah, subtle body is part of the soul. So how can we understand the point that soul is indestructible? Swati, you raise the hand.
Prabhuji, I think that with our life experiences, we still from within are happy, or so I'm not saying it right. So whatever our life experiences, whether it is with our body or with our emotions or anything like that, but we bounce back and we come out of that state. So I think that shows that it is indestructible, and with the energy that the soul has, that gives us that inner energy, it shows that it is indestructible no matter what happens in our lives.
No, what I'm asking is, hey Avi. Yeah. So what I'm asking is, how to understand the point that soul is indestructible. How can we say that soul is indestructible? Krishna.
I think the soul can only be destroyed by Krishna, but I don't think Krishna would want to destroy a soul unless he wants to take it back in.
So what makes
the soul I don't fully understand the meaning of the soul getting liberated, but I kind of understand the meaning, like the soul is indestructible. Like it's kind of like fire. So if you try to cut fire in half, it's not possible, right? Either if you try to put the knife in there for too long, it'll melt.
Yeah.
Otherwise, but if you take it out quickly, the fire will just snap back together. So it's kind of, the soul is like a fire in the body.
But fire can be extinguished.
Yeah, it can
with
be
water or
extinguished.
something.
It's like fire,
Mhm.
but it's not like it cannot be destroyed by water.
Okay. So when we before that, Aparna, you want to say something?
Yes, Prabhuji, I was thinking that no matter how a body is dying, whether it's through an accident or through surgery or through old age, still the soul goes to a next birth and takes life. Or if it was, let's say, a person was blasted in an atomic bomb, or he was any other way, still the person's soul does go from that body to a different body without getting injured. If it was destroying or something happened to it, then it would not be able to move forward. So I think that is the proof that it is
Yeah. So
indestructible.
based on the symptoms or the evidence, we are saying that soul is indestructible, because after death, soul takes another body. So based on these symptoms and evidence, we are saying that soul is indestructible. Okay, Venugopal raised hand. After that, you. Okay, Venugopal.
Okay, so in previous slokas and all, Prabhuji, you clearly explained the link between the soul, mind, and body. So when we say the indestructible, it means it's experienced by mind and it's a symptom of the mind. And so during any of these problems or any of these difficulties, soul will never actually experiences all these things. So it's actually the mind who experiences all these things. So that's why the soul is really not feeling any pain over here. So it's not indestructible.
Okay, so that is again, based on the symptoms or evidence, empirical analysis, we are able to say that soul is indestructible. Yeah, Abhi.
You know how I said on the phone that soul can be an incarnation of the subtle body?
No, soul is not an incarnation of subtle body. Subtle body is a component of soul. No, it is not same. When you say incarnation, that means first there is subtle body, then the soul. It is not true. So subtle body is part of soul. For example, this phone, it has camera. Camera is part of this phone. So you cannot say phone is an incarnation of camera. So consider camera, imagine camera as subtle body, and the phone as soul. So subtle body, which is the camera, is part of the phone.
Wait, so I have this in my main. If when you die, anyways, the soul has to come out of the subtle body. So which one of those come out? Subtle body?
No. When a person dies, soul carries subtle body and takes next life.
So they both come out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's nothing like two separate things here. Soul itself carries the subtle body.
Subtle body is the five elements.
Mind, intelligence, and false ego. Those three. Yeah. Subtle body consists of.
I knew already.
You are smart. Okay. So soul is indestructible. Okay, now forget about soul. When do we say an object is destructible or indestructible? What happens when an object is destroyed? Or how does an object get destroyed?
It's destroyed by something that is and it's living.
Destroyed by what?
Something that it can. There's two possibilities of something being destroyed. Like I can destroy a human with a sword.
Okay.
That's an example of a non-living.
Yeah, very good. That's a good example. Yeah.
Living thing.
Yeah.
But also it's a living thing destroying destroying living. For example, there might be a tiger destroying a pig.
Yeah.
And another example is the human destroying a non-living, like a living thing destroying a non-living thing. Like if you put
in fire in the forest,
no,
then the trees are destroyed.
you put a cage and you put a tiger in the cage, there is a possibility the tiger breaks up the cage, which destroys the cage. Right? Like it takes the cage apart. But there's another example.
Okay. No, your first two examples are enough. Your first example is very good. So to destroy a person, you can kill a person using a sword. Okay? You can kill a person using sword, right? So what is happening there? For example, somebody is firing a gun. So a bullet enters the body and destroys the body. Okay? That means when an object can pervade the other object and that can destroy that object, we say that is destructible. Whereas here, soul, nothing can pervade the soul, because for something to destroy an object, that something has to pervade that object. For example, bullet or the sword or poison. So the poison has to enter the body and pervade, or the bullet has to enter the body and pervade. Then the destruction happens to the body. Whereas soul, to destroy the soul, something has to pervade the soul. Can anything pervade the soul? Why?
Because it is 10,000th part of the tip of the hair. So it's so minute that we can't even perceive it. So
okay, that is
so
one good point. Another point.
Here, they say the soul exists in the soul floats in 5 kinds of air.
Okay.
It's part and parcel of Krishna himself. So
It is part and parcel of Krishna, and Ashok is saying soul flows through 5 airs.
Yes, so it cannot be destroyed. It cannot destroy air.
It cannot destroy air. Okay.
It is not made out of the constituents of the material world. The water, earth, and all of the 5 elements. It's not made out of that. So
Yeah, I was about to say that the atoms that the reason why anything pervades material body is because the atoms or the constituents of our body are similar or made out of same kind of material as that of the pervaders or like the destroyers, whereas soul is I would like to say from a different dimension. Its constituents are like a set of I mean not similar to that of our planet. Yeah, maybe.
Satchit Ananda.
Yeah, so it's hard to create something that alien to.
That's another good point. That's another good point. That's why any material object cannot destroy the non-material object. Okay.
It's you can't even get all of it, but you can even get close to it. So you can get close to it, but it'll escape from you because it's like he said, it was air. Like he said, it's kind of like air.
Yeah.
So can you destroy air? Like right now, if I like air, if I'm doing it,
yeah.
Am I destroying destroy it because it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's all over the world. So even if you destroy one piece of air, there's still millions of particles of air.
Very good. Similarly, we cannot pervade any object, cannot pervade soul, because soul pervades all over. Okay, just like as Avi said, right? Soul pervades all over the body. So that's why, just like in the example of a bullet entering the body and pervading entire body and destroying it, no object can pervade soul, because the soul is pervading everything. Soul is pervading all over. Just like the air, subtle thing, right? Ashok said, because soul is flowing through the air, and since we cannot destroy the air, that's why we cannot destroy the soul. So subtle thing. So because air and soul, they're pervading all over. That's why any external object cannot pervade that object which is all pervading. Yeah. That's why soul is indestructible. Okay. So we discussed imperishable, indestructible, and then all pervading. Yeah. Sarvam. Ena sarvam idam tadam.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yeah.
Like we know what are the principles of the soul, and do we know like what does it consist of? Is there do we understand it like it has energy, or what is inside the soul?
So soul is made up of Sat, Chit, Ananda. These are the three components. Just like this material body is made up of Pancha Mahabhuta: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Similarly, the soul is made up of Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means eternality. Chit, knowledge. Ananda, bliss.
Can we break that a bit and like go one layer deep, Prabhuji? Like, how do you put three of those together in that small portion? Like, is there any explanation for that?
So how do we put these three components in that minute particle of soul? That is Krishna's magic. That is Krishna's magic. So, I mean, have you seen that huge, humongous banyan tree in South India, in Andhra? In Kadapa district, I think. In Kadapa. Kadiri, there's a place called Kadiri. In that place, there's a huge, humongous banyan tree. It is almost like, in 10th chapter, Krishna says, what does he say? Vrikshanam?
Ashwattham Sarva Ashwattham is.
No, that is about horses, right? Ashwattham. Uchchai Shravasam Ashwanam. No. That is about horses. Among all the horses, the Uchchai Shrava is the best horse.
He says like Ashwattham Sarva Vrikshanam. There is a shloka about Ashwattham.
There is a shloka about the trees. Among all trees, I am the banyan tree. Okay, anyways, while Ashwaki is looking up that verse, so Rahul, have you seen that, or maybe in the picture or in the news, you might have seen or heard about it? Humongous banyan tree sprawling over, probably, an entire village. So a few, probably 20-30 miles actually. Such a big, humongous banyan tree. And what is the source of that? A small seed, right? That means such a humongous tree sprawling over 20-30 miles is kept in that small seed. So why can't Krishna put three components, Sat, Chit, Ananda in the soul? Yeah, these are very, very subtle to understand. We cannot comprehend these. But just believe that it is possible.
It is 10th chapter 26.
10th chapter 26 sloka. Okay.
Ashwatam sarva vrikshana devashim nancha naradaha gandharvanam chitrarataha siddhanam kapilo munihi.
Okay.
He says he is the, among all the trees, he is Ashwatha tree, and among Devarishis, he is Narada.
There is a shloka about banyan tree also.
In 10th chapter, Prabhuji, that is the one Ashwatha Vrikshana. And
there's a shloka about banyan tree. Yeah. No, that is 15th chapter. But here also in 10th chapter, there is shloka about banyan tree. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Okay, Madhuri, you raised a hand. Yeah.
Prabhuji, regarding the same topic, but a little different question. So each soul has when Krishna created, or we were not created or destroyed, but each soul has equal amount of Satchit Ananda, or like basing on that person's karma, or like this thing. does the composition differ or change?
Is there discrimination? Good question. Okay. Yeah, it is same.
It is same.
Same quantity. Yeah. Same.
But as we incur karma or anything like that, does that change that composition, or does it remain the same irrespective of our subtle minds?
No, it does not. The soul itself, by nature, it is imperishable, indestructible, immutable. There is another attribute that Krishna describes in later shlokas. Immutable. That means unchangeable. So the constituents of the soul, their proportions are not changeable.
But Prabhuji, if subconscious mind is part of like soul, as we discussed, so but that carries this mind and false ego as well, right? So that varies from person to person, or like not even a person, but that changes with our previous birth. Like, maybe in that birth we committed some grave sins, and we incurred karma, and that false ego is carried to the next birth. So then they might change, right? They might be different, or like heavier or whatever.
So the soul by itself is not influenced by the subtle body. Okay, the subtle body helps the soul remember or forget Krishna. The purpose of mind there is to facilitate the remembrance or forgetfulness of Krishna. And when the soul forgets Krishna, then the soul remembers so many other things. So it carries so many other things in the subtle body. When the soul leaves one body and transmigrates to another body. But let's say after 100, 200 lifetimes, a person achieves perfection in Bhakti Yoga and then goes back to spiritual world. So in that situation, the soul is not subject to, because it's in the pure state, right? And it is not in the conditioned state. In the pure state, the soul is not subject to, or it's not influenced by the subtle body. Subtle body will still be there, but that time it does not, how do you explain? So it is
clear of all impurities and
clear of all impurities. The remembrance will be there. The remembrance of for example, the remembrance of material world will be there. Remembrance of how painful it is to live in the material world will be there, even in the pure state.
Oh, okay.
That's why Krishna says, once the soul reaches spiritual world, it will never come back to the material world again because of that remembrance.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Aparna, you had a question?
Yes, Prabhuji. When there are people who claim they are psychics and they're saying, I am going to talk to your ancestor's soul, and they're giving messages, or they know that, some very private information only the family knows. Or even like, I've seen like in hospice care studies where very, very close to like near death patients will say, oh, I see my sister is standing there and talking to me. So if the soul is not like staying stagnant anyway, does not talk, does not have a so-called gross body, then how or who are these people talking to? Is that all a hoax, or is this just something people are creating?
It is possible to, to talk to, I mean, I have limited knowledge on that. Funnily, yesterday, I met with another lady in the temple. So she, for last 2 years, she has been having nightmares. She has been seeing nightmares in the dreams. And 2 days ago, she saw ghosts also in the dream, and the ghosts were talking to her. Apparently, she has a Bhagavad Gita picture on the wall, that Krishna, Arjuna, and chariot, that picture on the wall. And apparently, that ghost is talking to her and asking her to move the picture away. So she showed me the picture on her phone, saying that I have this picture on my wall, and the ghost is asking me to move the picture away. So, and just now at the beginning of the class, Ashok told me that he has been seeing snakes since last few days. And what else did you see?
Oh, snakes.
Are the snakes talking to you?
No. Just like in the home.
Yeah.
People are asking, hit the snake, try to kill it. I'm like, no, it's not doing anything, don't hit it. Let me try to put it away, don't harm the snake. Okay. Like, try to catch him.
Okay. So multiple times you had those dreams, like multiple days?
2 times.
Okay.
2 to 3 times.
Okay. Yeah.
And Prabhuji, I myself have had some experiences where I feel like things have touched me at night, or like these weird nightmares. So in my bedroom, like all the sides I have like Dev and like, Gita and everything in the protection in 4 areas, because I'm that afraid or I'm just worried. That's something that is paranormal. But now I feel much more better because I feel like, they can deal with Krishna first and then talk to me. So I feel like I feel protected around it. But I do believe, because when you have those experiences that there is something out of our control, maybe that can possibly talk to us or attack us. This is very frightening. So I was wondering if this is if this is what Bhagavad Gita is telling is, soul has its own thing. It is indestructible. It'll move on and not necessarily stay here. So then what is this ghost concept? Who are psychics talking to, and who are these people who are ready to die talking to? What is it? Subtle body? Is it soul? Is it hallucination?
It is subtle body, not the soul. It is subtle body. And I don't know how exactly they do it. I mean, there are some tantric techniques, right, that one can learn. So through tantric techniques, they can do this. They can captivate a soul. They can get rid of the ghosts in a haunted house. All those things are possible. They can talk to the ghosts. They can talk to the souls via the subtle body. All those things are there. They can occupy, one's body. They can make a soul occupy one's body. All those things are possible through tantric techniques.
But doesn't that defy what was kind of just said, that, that only Atma and Paramatma is there in a body and not a second Atma cannot come into a body that already has one soul, like these kind of weird concepts. And it's okay if there's no like specific answer now, Prabhuji. These are things that I've always wondered about. Because that's how we grow, right? When we listen to very small, you see, when they talk about Atma, they talk about like a like a ghost which looks exactly like that human. They don't talk about a very small, one out of hairs, that kind of size. They always talk about someone who looks like you, but like a transparent. That is the soul, or you can see it with your eyes. They're just moving around like a black shadow. Nobody talks about soul being a very, very, very small invisible part. It's like someone has seen it. They talk about for many generations, different cultures. They tell the exact same thing, whether they're Hindu or not. So I feel like there might be some basis to it, but I'm not sure if the Gita eventually explains that or not, or even if that's relevant.
Yeah. So you're saying when the tantric people or psychic people, when they make a soul captivate someone's body, so technically there are two souls in the body.
Yeah, I like that point as well.
So I don't know how exactly do that, so anyway, that's not relevant.
Yeah, Prabhuji, maybe I can try something. I understood Mataji's question.
You did research like the moon. By the way, last week you all missed an important conversation. So how many of you believe that Neil Armstrong went to moon? Okay. Madhuri?
I think so, Prabhuji. They're advertising it so badly, so
okay.
I think they do. I have not seen him personally, but
Swati, what do you believe? Do you believe that Neil Armstrong went to the moon?
It's America. Anything that they document may or may not be true, but for their benefit, everything that America does has happened.
But Rahul is saying Neil Armstrong never went to moon.
It's possible. It's documented that he has, but it's quite possible. It's no idea. Not sure.
Yeah.
There's a video. Maharaj made a video. There was this guy named, I don't know, I forgot. But his name was, he was the second person talking. There's only one more guy.
Yeah.
He proved it, like literally, search it right now. Okay, his name was Buzz Aldrin. He went to the moon. And there's literally a video. Some guy named Brian or something is talking to them. Then Brian starts off with the conversation. You guys went to the moon. Tell me about your experience. And then Buzz Aldrin says, no, that was just an animation.
Animation. That's what you mentioned last week, right?
I saw the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says like we had video cameras and other things, then they cut the conversation.
Yeah.
So
they cut the conversation.
They cut the conversation.
Yeah.
They don't continue the conversation, but something is not real.
Yeah.
Like when the person who lands on the moon says like, if someone asks, did you go? We will say yes or no.
Yeah.
We will say like, oh, there were cameras and other things.
Yeah.
The camera, if they having the cameras, how do they bring the cameras? They want to door away for a while.
So anyway, all of you who missed the last class, you all missed this conversation. And by the way, Rahul had written a paper on this topic, the moon hoax. It's called Moon Hoax. So similar to that, now he has researched about this also. Yes, Rahul, go ahead.
Not research, bro. Like maybe all of us know this. Like, Mataji is basically asking, like, if there is a soul, and according to Gita, it transmigrates to another body right after the death. So, what are these guys seeing, and why are these souls not transmigrating to other bodies, and what are they like doing, laying around and scaring people and doing other stuff? So, and also Mataji mentioned that they see figures, and like not a small particle like flying around or something like that. So maybe Mataji, it's not like particularly a soul. Like Prabhuji mentioned, it might be a subtle body. And we can take an example and like see why a soul or a subtle body is wandering around on the planet like without transmigrating to another body. So let's say a person dies by an accident, and he has
Or suicide.
Very a huge desire to like kill someone else, or maybe to get rich, like a very huge desire, or
Unfulfilled
not getting the word, like
unfulfilled desires.
Unfulfilled desire. So to kill someone, that that subtle body still has that memory and will look around to kill someone. So we can like term that as a ghost, or an entity just trying to kill someone, scaring people. We can get that one example. And there are also, you must have heard that there are good souls as well. Like they don't harm anyone. Maybe they guide people unknowingly. We don't know. So yeah, these subtle bodies, they haven't yet transmigrated because they have an unfulfilled desire, maybe, or not only desire, they might have a duty they did not finish yet. They might have promised someone that like they would do that in this lifetime, and they did not do that. So maybe these might be some of the cases, but I'm not very sure because I haven't seen, or things like that. And also you mentioned that you also go through nightmares, like stuff like that, right? Someone is touching, an entity is touching you, the sleep paralysis. Even I go through sleep paralysis a lot. So whenever I got so used to sleep paralysis that I sometimes enjoy that moment of anxiety. Like I try to explore what is my mind, how is the mind getting this feeling, because I know there is nothing, but how is my mind perceiving that there is something and it is trying to attack me or harm me. So basically the body is getting the body is almost asleep, but the mind is still working. You might be knowing how we get sleep paralysis, right? So yeah, even I try to explore like how exactly we get afraid, but I've come to the point that I'm not that afraid of sleep paralysis. Because I know there is nothing, and it's probably it's just my blanket or my pillow touching me. But few cases I am not able to like we feel that like on our bed an entity is like standing right above us and poking its arms and legs like beside us. Like the bed goes like something is poking. I don't know how the body is perceiving that yet, but I have some answers to if something is touching your feet, right? It's probably your comforter. Something is touching your hand, it's like your pillow. So that I've figured out, but I'm still figuring out how the mind is perceiving things that are not existing. It's probably because we are in a half uh, sleep state, and the mind
That's
and body.
hallucination. That may be hallucination.
Yeah, and I've had both experiences, both the sleep paralysis, which is really terrifying, where you cannot move your body, which I think I can explain, but I've also felt like 5 fingers. Like I know it's not my blanket. I've felt it like touch me, tap me, and it is the most freakiest thing, especially if you're alone in a room as an adult, right? If a child, I guess you can explain, oh, I'm scared and you can run to your mom. But when you're an adult, it's very scary. And actually, I've had the sleep paralysis, which haven't had in a long time. But when I did have it, I used to just chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and just close down, and it would somehow, if it is an entity, it is gone. But if not, it's cured my paralysis. I haven't had for a very long time. And then I think during one of our discussion, maybe it was a DYS course, Gopika Mataji had mentioned about putting Nrsimhadev in the room, and I've actually have it on both sides of my bed. And since then, I haven't had even one attack of this sleep paralysis or something touching me and all that. So I do believe there is something out there, and I know the psychics are connecting to someone. And it just struck me when I think Abhi was telling about the Prabhuji is telling the example of when the cell phone is with the soul, like the cameras with the cell phone, then there are two different things. Because I was thinking, okay, maybe it's a subtle body and they're having all these energies, negative energies. But if it's all together and the soul is always Sachidananda, why is this subtle body just running around here with no peace? And it doesn't equate to things we are learning and what we are seeing in real life or other people are experiencing. And also people through different cultures experience exact same thing, so it doesn't matter what religion they're there. So I feel like it's more of a spiritual thing, and so that's why I brought up the question, because I know this is not a unique thing to Indians or Hindus or any of that.
Yeah, there are haunted houses in America.
Houses.
And most of the haunted houses are popular tourist attractions. So visitors, they would love to go there and spend nights, get that experience of being haunted. Yeah, there are so many haunted hotels actually. So they would like to go there, spend time, and get that experience. Because people, after all, in this world, they are looking for some extraordinary experiences. When they have tried everything else, like all the entertainment and everything else, then they want to experience something like this, unique.
Is it real probably or this movie level?
No, it's real. It's real.
If you go in England, there are so many castles and hotels which are all haunted.
You're saying UK? No, even here in Washington. Even here in Washington, there are haunted homes.
You can, but since you're
So Seattle is built upon a old city. Like the old city was burnt. So I've gone to that tour also, Prabhuji. Like we go below. There's like some antiques still lying there.
Oh.
So the whole place was burned down. So they figured that they need to build a city above, because that entire wreckage, it can't be rebuilt. So there's also a movie on that. Might be a lot of haunted beings down there, like below downtown Seattle.
Okay.
Today we are not going to get sleep, Prabhuji.
No. When Madhuri and Swati raised their hands, I thought they also have similar stories, haunted stories. That's why they raised their hands.
Yeah,
wanted.
I do have
Yeah.
something related to sleep paralysis, Prabhuji. Like, I'm not sure about the hands on, body or something like that, but like normal sleep paralysis where you cannot move your hands and legs, even though your brain is active, but you cannot. That happened to me. that happens not just in your home, but even in a moving car or whenever. So the reason behind that is like if you are hungry, I mean, if you have not eaten anything for a few hours, but out of exhaustion, if you sleep, then your body cannot wake up as immediately as your brain wakes up. So you feel that sleep paralysis. I mean, there's like medical this thing for that part of, I mean, that kind of sleep paralysis, but I'm not sure about feeling some hands and legs on a foreign thing on us. I never faced that, but I faced this kind of sleep paralysis where you cannot move your hands, legs, or I tried I tried shouting to my husband or like whoever was beside me to wake me up because it feels like you are tied down and everything. But that happened to the same time as well with my friend as well, because she was also hungry and we were sitting in car for so long. We are on a long drive, and we didn't eat anything for so long, but out of exhaustion, because we are traveling, we are hungry and we are dehydrated and everything, and we were sleeping. So yeah, that caused that part. So and even I think Aparna Mataji can vouch for that. So that this part is also explained in medical science, but I'm not sure about. Yeah, that can also happen through maybe ghosts or something like that, but I don't know. I only experienced the material part of it. Hopefully it stays like that.
I have another question. It's like I have seen some videos they say like whatever chanting we do, whatever we do, if we do 100 rounds in our next, but if we don't go to Golaka, it starts from 101.
Yeah.
So whatever Sukriti we do, it will be carried forward.
Yes.
So we just discussed that mind also gives the
forgetfulness and remembrance.
So how does that happen, Prabhuji? Because like since we are chanting, doing everything, by something like we are not yet ready, we will take the next one.
Yeah.
How things work out in the next one?
So how is our Sukruti carried forward to the next life?
Yes. Yes.
Just like how karma is carried forward to the next life. So Sukruti means basically akarma. Just like how your good karma and bad karma, karma, vikarma, just like how they are carried forward, akarma is also carried forward. And that is through the agency of universal laws. It is nothing related to subtle body or mind carrying all these things. It is through because if you ask the subtle body does not want to carry the karma, you know. So it works through the agency of universal laws. Yeah.
One thing is every soul is a personal feature. Every soul has a personal feature.
Yeah.
That means that in general, I think we have maybe, I don't know, every soul has a 400 form or 200 form, like that, right?
Every soul has 200, 400 forms.
When the forms are impure, they're close to Krishna's 400 form or 200.
Oh, 400 form.
400. So that's all, like it has hands, it has legs and everything. Right. So only when we have material desire, when we have the material desire, then this from the Mahatattva, the false ego, that wraps the matter and the soul together.
Yeah.
So from the false ego generates the mind, intelligence, all senses.
Yeah.
That is the medium that binds the matter. When we say, it is from my understanding, when we say subtle body, still we have the elements, but in a very subtle form. Like when we talk about the ghost, still there is air, some elements, which are not physically visible to the eyes.
Yeah, there's no gross form. Yeah.
So I think when we think of soul, we should not think as an impersonal thing. It's still a personal feature.
Yeah. Soul has a form. Soul has a form, and when we go to spiritual world, so we will take that that Satchidananda Rupam. Satchidananda Rupam. Yeah.
Prabhuji, I just had one comment on Ashok Prabhuji's dreams on snakes.
Okay.
So it is said that it shows intuition because snakes have such a significance in our scriptures. It's around Shiv Bhagwan and Vishnu Bhagwan rests on snakes, and it is said that the reason why we have snakes in our scriptures is because they have such strong intuition, and because our Bhagwans are in a constant meditative state, they are attracted to that. So maybe it shows that, Ashok Prabhuji is very intuitive or something around intuition is what I'm.
Very good. So we have an Acharya who is commenting, who is narrating the dreams. Very good.
And also, Prabhuji, once this was long back, I used to have a lot of ghosts in my sleep, and the way I combated it, I think that it happened 10 or 15 days in a row, nights in a row, and then I decided that I am going to scare these ghosts away. So after deciding that same night, I was able to scare it away. I mean, in my dreams, first I decided, then I did that same act, and after that, no ghosts in my dream, no nothing. So I think it's our life events that scare us, and that comes in the form of ghosts in our dreams, and then we make a resolve that we need to.
Wherever there are negative vibrations,
Yeah.
that's where ghosts, the haunted incidents, all these things happen.
Yeah.
The best way to get rid of negative vibrations is Narsimha Kavach. Read Narsimha Kavach. Play Narsimha Kavach audio. And as Aparna has kept 2 Narsingh Dev on 2 windows. If you have 10 windows, you keep 10 Narsingh Devs. Yeah, Narsingh Dev is a protection. And
so, Kavach means, is it photo?
Yeah, you can keep a Narsingh Dev photo or small deity, anything. When Prabhupada
heavily made out of copper with certain drawings on it, Prabhuji, for Venugopal Prabhuji.
Narsimha Yantra.
Yeah, some yantra, yeah.
Narsimha Yantra is there. Yeah, you can keep that also. So when Prabhupada was in America, sometime, I think it was in Detroit or somewhere. So he wanted to live in one apartment, and everyone who knew about that apartment, they cautioned Prabhupada, saying that Prabhupada, please do not stay in that apartment, because it's a haunted house. There are ghosts living in that house. Prabhupada said, no, that's okay. And then Prabhupada went and chanted. In 2 days, the ghosts ran away. So Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Narsimha Kavacha, Narsimha Arati. You can do Narsimha Arati every day in your home. And occasionally you can bring a temple priest and do Narsimha Homa, just like our Naresh Prabhu did recently. You can do that once in a month or once in a quarter. Occasionally you can do Narsimha Homam. And all the time, keep playing Hare Krishna Mahamantra audio on the phone, or you have a small, iPod or something, and keep playing these positive vibrations all the time. Then you will not have all these problems. Yeah. Wow. We started with something and we discussed something else.
Today's episode can be renamed as paranormal. Today's recording.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, the recording, I have to name something else, right? Booth
You'll
Katha.
get more views, Prabhuji, for that.
Instead of Krishna Katha, Booth Katha.
But Prabhu, as a summary, it's all because of karma only, right? All these negative thoughts and everything.
Not necessarily because of karma, but because you have unclean place, or you have unclean, for example, they say, right, if you have long nails, ghosts reside in those places. If you have unclean body, unclean place, then you are inviting negative energy. So all these things, nothing to do with karma.
Okay.
So your current situation, as well as your current mental psychological state, basically. So if you keep filling with the positive vibrations, the transcendental vibrations of Narasimha Kavach, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reciting Bhagavad Gita shlokas, yeah, then nothing will scare you. Yeah. Okay. So what time it is? 7:19, right? Okay. So
Prabhuji, I just want to add one more thing for Aparna Mataji's discussion.
yeah.
So even I had unexplained sleep paralysis, like there is some entity walking around the bed, like that can be explained, right? How is my body able to perceive something which is like walking away from the bed? So that's one. So even I have unexplained experiences, and I'm still exploring how to get that explained. And one more thing about the mind is, so once, like I said, I figured out this is a sleep paralysis, and I go back to sleep, right? So my mind figured out that this guy knows now he's getting the sleep paralysis. So let's do this a bit difficult for him. And I started getting sleep paralysis inside another dream. So I'm dreaming in a level deep. So I'm dreaming in my dream. So I have to get out of that sleep paralysis, then like be in a dream. Then my mind will perceive that I got out, but I'm still in that paralysis. So I have to like put that extra effort. So I even figured that out, but I had a 3-level deep sleep paralysis. So that normally it's like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, right? The sleep paralysis session, the episode goes for. But that day it was like more than half an hour, 45 minutes of sleep paralysis at a stretch for me. So I think this is because the mind is tricky. It knows how to trick us, and it keeps learning, right? So that's one I can explain. That's I have explanation for that. But other things like an entity moving around my room, and I can feel footsteps, maybe 10 steps away from my bed. I can't explain that, right? So yeah, I don't know how to put those two together. So I'm fascinated, like everyone, in this topic, like dreams and other things. And for Ashok Prabhuji's question, there is an AI, Prabhuji. There's a dream interpreter AI, which like interprets whatever you're dreaming. Like if you see snakes, it will give you an answer like what might be the possible answer you're seeing snakes in your dream. So I use that quite frequently, and I think it makes sense. So you should give it a try. I've shared that on the group as well.
Okay, wow, we have scholars. I thought initially it is only one. Then it it turned out to be 2, then 3, then 4 now. Okay, good stuff. So yeah, the mantra is to fill positive vibrations in the home. Whatever it makes it possible, right? Whether there are wind chimes, sound breaking the negative energy, or green trees, keeping green trees, green plants in the house, or waterfall, this transcendental vibrations, all these things.
Prabhuji, if you know any, kind of this spiritual or like people who are psychic or who practice astrology and kind of deal with it, but they are Krishna conscious, maybe that would be someone to talk to who can kind of explain what they are experiencing or who they are talking to, because I don't know anyone personally, but I want to also know someone or talk to someone who possibly is Krishna conscious, because then they can relate and tell us what exactly they are experiencing or who they are talking to or what kind of vibrations. Maybe it's like an antenna catching some vibrations from some subtle body. So if you come across, of anyone in the group come across someone like that, it'd be a nice thing to know, to kind of solidify our knowledge in the Gita.
There is one person, her name is Pragati. She's initiated by Radha Maharaj. Her name is Prema Gopika. So she's an astrologer. I'm sure she knows about this concept also. So I'll give the contact number to you. You can talk to her.
Okay, Prabhuji.
In Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe you can meet her in person and whatever is possible.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So happy sleeping, everyone.
No sleep today.
No sleep today.
Gone.
Yeah. And I'm so blessed that I can sleep in any place, any situation, any kind of problem. I can sleep happily.
Except jet lag.
Except jet lag. I sleep more actually. During jet lag, I sleep more. I sleep more during jet lag. I sleep in the day and sleep in the night also. I cover 2 time zones.
Wednesday, I was like awake until 3 a.m. I can't sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep positive vibrations going on all the time. Yeah. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna. We continue.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.